Hi, welcome to my retirement roadmap. And this is the next video in a series on Roth conversions, titled Roth Conversion Workshop. Just a couple upfront reminders that these are beta release videos, unedited. I just felt I really needed to get something out there as quickly as I could because we're in the middle of November. We're right in the time when people are starting to figure out Roth conversions if they want to do them or not. So I did want to get the information out there. Also, this is education only. So it's very important that if you do decide to do a Roth conversion, you make sure you work with a professional, tax financial professional, to ensure that you're definitely doing the something that's not going to be the wrong decision for you in the long term. So that's where we're going from. Okay, so let's talk about a few other topics here, and I'm referencing from my the current version of my website tyrollins.com that is addressing Roth conversions. Again, this is a continuation about talking about possibilities of doing Roth conversions that are not these decisions aren't necessarily direct financially beneficial to folks. So let's talk a little bit about this first one here, current year spending optionality with Roth. Now this is an interesting one. I didn't actually know about this possibility until this year. It kind of makes a lot of sense. And what it means is you can have money that's in Roth that you've already converted and have that money you can spend from that in your cash bucket. We call it, the cash immediate bucket, the current year spending. It's there, good to go. In other words, the taxes have already paid. Typically, what most people do is they will do withdrawals and put the money into a brokerage account for their current year spending. So it's sitting there, a taxable brokerage account. Okay, so the money's there, good to go. But I was listening to some people who have great experience in retirement financial planning, and they're like, yeah, but you could also use a Roth account for that. And I thought that makes a lot of sense, especially as I was starting to look at my tax projections for 2025, and I'm like, oh, I had this money in my taxable brokerage account, and it's been earning interest, and now I have to pay taxes on that. It was earning, like it's been up there around 4%, right, in a taxable brokerage account, just in the money market funds. Okay, they've been good, but it also means we have to pay taxes on it. So if you're taken from a Roth, then that is another better, because that interest would not be taxable. So it's a very good idea. I'm just saying this is another possibility that people need to look into as far as doing Roth conversions. And the other point too here is that I have to qualify this because this is important. Is like when you're doing, so what I was doing before is I would do the withdrawal from the account. I would take the withdrawal and put it into a taxable brokerage account, have it ready for the year. It's all good, ready to go. But instead, you can do a rollover. Roll it over into a Roth. Excuse me. Do a Roth conversion. Okay. So we put it there. It is now Roth money. And one qualification here, this is important. I haven't gotten into the 5-year rules about the Roth, etc. But the point is that if you're older than 59 and a half, after you're 59 and a half, and we're already kind of assuming that people are at that point right now, but you can take out what you put in without a penalty. So that works for this current year spending with Roth. And then I'm probably getting way too detailed on this, but then what happens is, like, you spend a month and then you decide, well, I need to fill up this so I have a whole year. Then you have the option of, I'm going to take that money out of I'll just do another Roth conversion and pull it out of the stock market, assuming the stock market is ready to go there. Or you might have the money, as I do, you have the money sitting in another account, which is the second bucket, or I like to call them envelope, which is it's not your immediate cash account, but the second one that's meant for like kind of like the next 5 to 7 years. You got to have that money there that's protected from the stock market. So anyway, I just wanted to give that example, something to consider. It certainly adds value to making a Roth conversion. Just adding more may or may not be financially sound for the long run, but it is something that makes things more convenient, in my opinion. That's another reason here. So then I'm going to talk, I got 3 simplify benefits of doing Roth conversion. The first one is for self. Simplify for self. And I say this because in most married filing jointly households, right? In most, let's say at least 9 times out of 10, one of the spouses handles the money. I think sometimes I say this, a CFO of the household, but they're the ones who are involved in all this, okay? And they know it, they understand it, they're good about it, and then more than likely the other spouse is like, I want nothing to do with that. That's not my thing. You handle it. You take care of it. But if the person who's in charge of these things, they're doing fine. But then if cognitive decline sets in, and your money's still all over the map, and you've got RMDs to deal with, and you've got these tax planning that has to happen every year to make sure that you're not overpaying taxes that you don't need to, and you've got to take care of the money that's coming out of your taxable brokerage account. So that's okay, but once cognitive decline starts to set in, that's where if the money is all in Roth, let's just say it's all in Roth, 100%. All of that stuff goes away. So if cognitive decline sets in, you're covered. You don't have to worry about it. I really liked that in my situation. I just really like that idea that I won't have to worry about that. Because I'm telling you, I worry about myself sometimes. I'm like, how could I have gotten that wrong? So no, I just know this happens to everybody. But longer term, the odds are, things will slow down a little. I'll have a little cognitive decline. So this is for myself. Simplify it for myself. Now let's talk about this simplifying for spouse. We sort of talked about it a little bit. You've got this spouse, but in my case, if I pass away, my partner, he's not like, he don't like this stuff, okay? And then if he inherits this mess where I say a mess, maybe I shouldn't use that word. But he inherits this where there's all different types of accounts, and you have to look here and there, then it's like, it's somebody else is going to have to jump in here and take care of this stuff. I mean, he'll need some help. So that's what I'm saying is simplify it for your spouse. Then you don't have to worry about it and say, I got you covered. This is all taken care of. It's in Roth, so you just have to take the money out that you need. That sort of thing. Okay? So that's for the spouse. The last group here, simplifying for, are beneficiaries. And I know some people are like, why would I care about my beneficiaries and how they get the money? And maybe you don't. And maybe it just doesn't matter. But I think it does. I really think it does. Let's hope that most of us are kind of in the situation where we want to, quote, die with zero, but life doesn't always work out that way. And that's hard to do anyway, right? Because we don't know when we're going to pass away. So if you're simplifying it for beneficiaries, let's just say that beneficiaries inherit these tax-deferred accounts, okay? Then they just made these new rules that haven't been out that long, where they say, okay, you got to empty those, you got to pay the taxes on those accounts within 10 years. So basically, this tax-deferred, this debt that we owe to the government, that we've been accumulating, this debt that we've been accumulating for several years, okay? Now that debt gets passed along to our beneficiaries. Okay. And note, unless these are charitable, qualified charities, right? So I'm just as benefit. So people, okay, children, nieces, nephews, friends, whatever, where whoever the beneficiaries are, these people are going to have to deal with the taxes. It's not as now. It's true they're inheriting money, but at the same point, depending on the situation, they could have to end up paying. I'm thinking, depending on state taxes as well. You might end up paying 50% of that goes to, and it's a headache. Those laws, as far as how to pay taxes on inherited IRAs and accounts, they're not simple. They're not easy to understand. There's a lot to them. We're not going to get into that here. But anyway, I did want to say you can simplify this for beneficiaries. And I know in my situation, if something happens, my beneficiaries, I just really want this to be super simple for them. They don't have to go in and stress over this. It's handled. And I'm fine if at the end of the day, maybe I overpaid some taxes by doing Roth conversions. So anyway, that is some more reasons, non-financial reasons, essentially, for doing Roth conversions. And that will be a wrap for this video.